So we're going to make a bar graph that shows differences between two averages. So the first thing you want to do is to create your data table, which will have at the top the name of your independent variable, and under that merged cell the names of the two groups. Going down the side of your table, you'll have however many trials your experiment has, and at the end the average and standard deviation. I'm highlighting these in a different color so that your data table shows clearly which is the processed data and which is the raw data. I'm centering all of the cells and making sure that all the numbers have a consistent number of decimals by selecting the number menu and then making sure that there are 0 decimals in all of those cells. Now I'm inputting the formula for the average, and I'm selecting all the trials for group A, and then I will carry over that formula over to the other group. Similarly for the standard deviation, a different formula. Now here, making sure that I'm only selecting the 10 trials and that I do not include the average in the calculation of the standard deviation. Now some random numbers down the group A column. You can see that the average and the standard deviation cells adjust automatically, and I'll do the same for the group B column. Now that I have the table ready to go, I'm going to move the cursor over a few cells, make sure it's not selected on my table, and I'm going to insert a column chart, which is what Excel calls bar charts. I'm going to select the data, so I add a series and choose the cells that are my the categories, right? So the two groups, those go on the x-axis. Those are my independent variables, and then the y values are the averages, which is the processed data for this particular graph. You should see now one bar for each of your averages, and now we're going to add the chart elements to make sure that this graph is completed. So I'm going to add a horizontal axis title and a vertical axis titles, and those will carry the names of the variables along with their units. The title should be the same title of your lab and the same title of your data table. IV stands for independent variable, DV stands for dependent variable, and in the title you should mention 2 of your main controlled variables. I'll resize the title and the axis labels to make sure that they're not huge when I copy and paste this graph onto my report. And now I'm going to add the error bars. Those are custom error bars under the more error bar options in the menu. Now we have to select the positive and the negative error, which means you're selecting the standard deviation cells twice. And once you do that, you should be able to see the standard deviations. Now in this example, because there's no overlap between the standard deviations on the 2 bars, that means the 2 averages are statistically different. Now if I change the values for group A and make the averages more similar to each other, you can see the graph changing automatically, that now that there is a significant overlap between the 2 averages. In fact, if you look at the averages are different, the standard deviations are different, but the overlap of the error bars means that those 2 averages are considered statistically the same.